So here's a little piece on chains. Some of the different types of chains you can get for tractors and Unimogs and stuff. These are Rudd chains. I'm actually in the process of putting these on and cinching them up. These are a kind of common chain for the Unimogs, and I like this type of chain. This is probably my favorite type of chain. I'll show a better application of it on my tractor. So here's a tractor with one type of chain, and these are, you want to look for a cross-linked bar like that. It's a real bonus, and as you can see, these are square chains. These are like finished chains. They're quite good, but what's important to note with this chain is when you look at it, it's always in contact with the ground, so you're never losing ground contact, so you always have a chain link kind of bedding you in. These chains are mildly a pain in the butt to put on. I don't know if I can find the links, but there's some links basically that kind of connect here. You have to trim these chains when you get them because there's no adjusting them. I mean, I could put some bungee cords there, but well, you can see they're tightened up a little bit right here. But for the most part, these chains, because they work on the diameter of the tire, you've got to cut the links, within inches. So they come pretty close. Like when I got these, they almost fit. I had to cut a couple of links out to get them to fit snugly. But this is a nice chain. You don't need to go with crazy heavy chains. The treads will get you through a lot of the snow. This is just for ice and kind of really hard packed snow. So this is a really nice chain. This is another type of chain right here. This is what's on the Unimog. So again, you don't really have any gaps. You have maybe some minor gaps, but this chain kind of comes across in a X pattern. And then you cinch this chain. What's nice about these is you get them on, they're kind of loose when they go on. You don't put them on too tightly. And then as you can see, these inner rings, this chain that's running there, what it's doing is it's pushing down, it's cinching everything up, so it tightens these chains. So these chains are easy to get nice and tight and snug on the tire using this method. And then this is kind of what's holding that chain down, and then you just take the extra length, bring it across, and this can be loose. But the advantage to these chains is, and if you see, I put this chain on incorrectly, so you can see how the link is pointing in towards the tire. So that's not the correct way to do this. I was in a hurry. We actually already have had 2 feet of snow and some snowstorms, and I didn't realize I made that mistake until I got them on, and quite honestly, I hate doing chains, but that's not the correct way to do it. But anyhow, this type of chain is a really nice chain, and it's really good on Unimogs because when you go fast being like 20-30 miles an hour, loose chains really start to kind of get sloppy. They move all across. And what's nice about this type of chain is you can really ratchet down and get this chain really snug on a tire. So in the case of like that Unimog, you can go at not highway speeds, but you can go pretty fast and not worry about the chains kind of flopping around. So here's a classic example of a flop around chain. So these chains are not as good as the other ones. These are a bit loose. They're a bit of a size too big. They're not a size too big, but these chains are not quite as easy to cut to size and stuff because of the way these links work. You need like 3 and 1 and 3 and 1. So you can't quite cut these to size, and they're designed to fit a variety of tires. So this ideally would have fit a little better on a bigger tire, hence why I've got these these springs in here to take up the slack on the chain. But what you do see with this type of pattern, right? So you kind of have this X, and then you have a gap, and then you have a cross and a gap. You do get pretty large gaps where there is no chain. But for the most part, you're mostly getting something, and you get some pretty good purchase, and you got these coming up and down like that, which is beneficial. But this style, I much prefer either that style or that style right there over this. And then finally, a chain that a lot of people use, kind of the most common type of chain, is just these strung over chains. This is how a chain should be installed, so that the soft part here, that these hooks are pointing out and not, so that they don't eat into your sidewall. These chains, they work, but I don't like them. There are a couple of problems with these chains. First of all, you get spots, where you have no chain. The other thing is you get a bounce going because you don't have a continuous tread. Like even these bounce a little less, but these get a bounce in them as well. Whereas if you look, at that chain, you're always on a link. The same with the Unimog there. It's zigzagging, kind of zigzags across the tire, so you don't get a bounce. With this, you get a mild bounce, but with these straight chains, I mean, just links across, these really bounce around a lot. They're okay. Like I said, they work, and they're good enough that I'm not going to go out and buy a whole new set of chains, but I wouldn't buy these in the future anymore. I would stick to basically the two styles of chain that are on my newest tractor, and that's why I bought this style. But it just kind of gives one an idea. You might be able to see, I'm trying to see if I can find the links on this one, because it should be right around here somewhere. Right there is a link chain, so you can see it, and then right there is a link chain. So you need to get these to the correct diameter, because if there's slack in these, they can either come undone, or the chain won't fit well. It'll start to ride off the edges. So with a chain like this, you just have to make sure you get it matched pretty well to your size. I forget who makes these chains. They're OFA, I think. They're pretty good chains. And again, they've got this crossbar in them. This chain, and again, I put both these front ones on backwards. This chain has these loose links. That's not quite as nice as the bar, but that works as well. It's a huge improvement over the ones on the other tractor. And again, you don't really get, you're most of the time you're on a chain, so you don't get that bouncing, hopping sensation, and you can tighten those down. So on the Unimog, these are Rudd chains. So again, these chains are kind of rusty, but they have this link going across. You can see it. That gives you excellent traction. And it's the same idea where you come in. Let me see if I can zoom out. Where you come in, and this chain here on the inside cinches down. I'm still in the process of tightening these up, but it cinches down and it tightens up. So these chains run really nice and tight. I'm in the process of putting this one on. So you would, you do this, kind of pull on that, and then you hook it onto there. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. Anyway, you basically, you hook that around, and then you cinch it down, and you get nice tight chains with a constant contact on the ground. And that's the way to go. So anyway, that was just a little piece. Again, this is the correct way to put them on with the hooks out. You want these chains as tight as possible, and they are kind of a pain in the butt to do, but once you figure them out, they're not that bad. So I should have probably done a piece on how to put them on. Maybe that's for next time. But anyway, a little review of various chains.